Success isn't a stroke of luck. It's a commitment, a design, a code you live by every day, whether you feel like it or not. It doesn't arrive at your doorstep because you dreamed big. It doesn't reward the one who waits patiently, or even the one who works hard sporadically. It favors the one who transforms intention into lifestyle. The one who reshapes their identity through decisions, repetition, and internal rewiring. Because let's be clear, success is not a surprise. It's not a miracle. It's a reflection. A reflection of what you tolerate, what you repeat, what you prioritize when no one is watching. It starts not with strategy, but with self. It begins the moment you decide that your standards will no longer be flexible, that your goals will no longer be suggestions, that your actions will no longer need a mood to ignite. The lessons that build this kind of life aren't loud. They don't trend. They aren't glamorous. But they change everything. Let's walk through them. Lesson 1. Your standards shape your identity. It's not your goals that define your future. It's what you're willing to settle for. People don't rise to their dreams. They fall to the quality of their standards. I learned early that no matter how detailed your vision board is, it means nothing if your daily actions are rooted in convenience. It doesn't matter how big you talk if you compromise in silence. The standard you hold is the ceiling of your results and the floor you refuse to fall below. Raising your standards isn't about being extreme. It's about refusing to tolerate the things that quietly sabotage your progress. The late starts, the excuses that sound noble, the people who drain your drive. When I changed what I allowed, I changed what I attracted. When I stopped negotiating with old habits, I started building new foundations. High standards force growth. They require discomfort, but they also unlock alignment, where your actions reflect your ambition and not your fears. When you build from standards, not feelings, you stop being inconsistent and start becoming unstoppable. The question is never, how big are your dreams? It's, what are you refusing to tolerate today? And that's where identity begins in the edge of discomfort, defended by a standard no longer up for discussion. Lesson 2. Your environment is your accelerator or your anchor. You can have the right mindset and still fail if you're in the wrong environment. Energy is contagious. Standards are contagious. So are excuses. I used to believe willpower was enough, that I could outgrow my surroundings with pure effort. But I kept getting pulled back, not by laziness, but by association. If your circle laughs at ambition, you'll eventually silence your own voice. If your environment normalizes distraction, discipline starts to feel extreme. You begin to lower your targets just to avoid conflict. You start shrinking your goals to protect their comfort. It's not arrogance to leave rooms that no longer fit your future. It's alignment. Growth doesn't happen in echo chambers. It happens in environments that stretch your thinking, that challenge your softness, that make average feel uncomfortable. You want to grow? Sit at tables where excellence is expected, where your excuses don't land and your potential isn't applauded but required. You'll know you've stepped into the right room when you start talking less and listening more. When you're no longer the smartest person in the space. When your goals feel small again, not because they lack power, but because your perspective just expanded. Change your environment. Change your life. And never apologize for outgrowing a room that was never meant to hold your evolution. Lesson 3. One decision can rewrite everything. Success doesn't arrive in a tidal wave. It arrives in a single decision made clearly, lived fully, repeated relentlessly. Not a wish, not a preference, a decision. Most people delay their breakthrough because they keep the back door open. They hedge their bets. They prepare to retreat before they've fully arrived. And in doing so, they dilute their power. I've seen this over and over. They say, I'm trying. But success doesn't respond to trying. It responds to deciding. One decision can flip the script of your entire life, but only if you make it with finality. No more half commitments, no more maybe later. When you make a real decision, the options disappear. You stop entertaining plan B. You stop waiting to feel ready. You begin to move like someone who already is. This kind of clarity shows up in your posture, in your conversations, in your energy, You stop explaining your goals and start embodying them. You stop announcing and start building. And no, it won't be easy. You'll be tested. People will doubt. Your old habits will scream for comfort. But that's when you double down, not because it's easy, but because it's done. The decision was already made. Now you're just catching up with it. Success respects those who eliminate the escape routes and walk forward with both feet in. Decide and don't look back. Lesson 4. You don't get what you want, you get what you repeat. You can want success more than anything and still sabotage it if your habits don't match your hunger. The world rewards repetition. It honors consistency. The results you crave are already attached to behaviors you're either doing or avoiding. Most people live in the gap between intention and execution. They feel inspired until it's inconvenient. They plan for greatness, but default to comfort. They say the right things, but repeat the wrong patterns. This is the trap. Thinking inspiration alone will carry you. It won't. Inspiration is a spark. Repetition is what keeps the fire alive. Want to change your life? Don't change everything. Change what you repeat. Build the reps that align with the future you see. The wake-up time, the follow-through, the language, the emotional control, the way you start your day, the way you finish your commitments. You'll know you're repeating the right things when they start to feel like identity, not effort. When you no longer need motivation to stay consistent. When excellence becomes your new normal. That's how habits evolve into identity. And when identity locks in, success is no longer occasional, it's inevitable. Lesson 5. Systems sustain what motivation starts. Here's the truth no one wants to hear. You're not struggling because you're lazy. You're struggling because you're relying on emotion instead of structure. Motivation is great until life gets chaotic, until sleep is low, until doubt creeps in. And when that happens, most people collapse back into old patterns. But high performers, they don't wait to feel inspired. They rely on systems. A system is the structure you build around your priorities. It's your routine, your calendar, your boundaries, your feedback loops. It's how you remove decision fatigue and anchor your energy to a rhythm, not a feeling. The most successful people aren't more motivated, they're more consistent, because they've built systems that work even when they don't feel like it. You need systems for your mindset, your health, your schedule, your focus. Not rigid ones, but repeatable ones. Ones that reduce noise and increase clarity. Ones that support your highest self without needing a pep talk every day. If your life feels chaotic, don't just blame discipline, audit your design. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the strength of your systems. So build strong ones. Build ones that align with who you're becoming, and let them carry you through the seasons where motivation fades. Because structure isn't restriction, it's protection, it's freedom. And freedom is what fuels momentum. Most people think they're stuck because they lack motivation, but they're actually stuck because they're loyal to an old identity. They keep making new plans with the same mindset. They try to grow with the same patterns, and they expect a new life while defending the old one. But transformation doesn't begin when you set a goal. It begins when you stop protecting the version of you that's no longer serving your future. You have to release it, mourn it maybe, but then outgrow it with intention. Because the version of you that achieves everything you've dreamed about doesn't live in hesitation. That version is bold. That version is focused. That version is committed to a standard that doesn't flinch when life gets loud. That version, you don't meet it by accident. You build it on purpose. Every day you wake up, you're casting a vote for the person you're becoming. Not through what you hope for, but through what you do, what you allow, what you tolerate. Excellence isn't a moment. It's a culture you build within yourself. So ask yourself, what do I keep letting slide? What do I keep postponing? What do I keep apologizing for? Those answers aren't just habits, they're patterns. And patterns form identity. Break the wrong ones, reinforce the right ones, and do it consistent until it's no longer a decision. It's who you are. There was a time when I thought discipline meant pressure, restriction, a loss of freedom. But the truth is, discipline gave me my life back. When I stopped letting my feelings run the day, I started building days worth living. When I gave structure to my vision, I made space for growth. And when I decided to honor my future more than my mood, everything shifted. Discipline isn't punishment, it's alignment. And when you live in alignment, peace replaces panic. Clarity replaces chaos. Momentum replaces burnout. Discipline isn't what you do when you're strong, it's what makes you strong. You don't have to transform everything overnight. Just choose one standard to raise, one habit to master, one decision to make final. Big breakthroughs are built on small hinges. Don't underestimate the power of one aligned decision, repeated daily. The person who changes their future doesn't leap, they stack. They don't chase motivation, they cultivate rhythm. So pick something today. Make it matter. Defend it until it becomes your new normal. Because when you change your baseline, your outcomes follow. There's a moment in every person's life where they have to stop admiring success and start aligning with it. To stop reading quotes and start becoming the quote. To stop collecting strategies and start living the standard. You're not here to memorize principles, you're here to embody them. Not perfectly, but persistently. You don't need more content. You need more commitment. You don't need better tips. You need better follow-through. And you don't need more motivation. You need a decision you refuse to back down from. That's when things begin to change, no on the outside, but inside. Quietly, powerfully, permanently. Repetition will teach you what talent can't. It will make average powerful. It will make small habits life-changing. It will transform your identity, not by force, but by familiarity. Because when you do something often enough, you stop negotiating with it. You stop resisting it. You start owning it. This is how habits become permanent. Not through intensity, but through intention. Not through hype, but through identity. Repeat the right things long enough, and they'll begin to shape your confidence, your certainty, your leadership. Repetition is how transformation becomes real and how results become inevitable. There's nothing more dangerous than being capable but inconsistent. You know what to do. You've seen the results it can bring, but you're still negotiating with yourself, still justifying delay, still dipping one foot in while keeping the other in comfort. Greatness doesn't come to those who dabble. It comes to those who declare. You want a different life? Declare war on your excuses. Declare war on procrastination, on emotional decision-making, on the soft voice that says, you can start tomorrow. Because that voice, it's not your friend. It's your limit, disguised as logic. Silence it with action. Replace hesitation with rhythm. And watch your results catch up to your potential. You don't need the world to believe in you. You need to stop doubting yourself. Success doesn't start when others validate you. It starts when you stop betraying your own standards. Every time you break a promise to yourself, your confidence cracks. Every time you keep one, your belief compounds. That's the real work. Not proving others wrong, but proving yourself right. Because once you trust your own consistency, your goals stop being dream sand, start becoming guarantees. Some people are busy, but not becoming. They confuse motion with progress, activity with effectiveness. They feel exhausted but haven't evolved. You don't need more movement. You need more mastery. Master your mindset, your morning, your message, your money. Master your ability to follow through, not just when you're inspired, but when you're tired, frustrated, or uncertain. Because mastery isn't built during the easy days. It's proven in the hard ones. And if you can keep moving with intention when your emotions scream for comfort, you've already won. If you want uncommon results, you have to live an uncommon rhythm. Wake up when others sleep. Focus when others scroll. Build when others doubt. It won't always be popular, but it will always be worth it. The truth is, average is overcrowded. Mediocrity is noisy. But greatness, it's quiet. It's lonely. It's disciplined. And it's calling your name. All you have to do is answer not once, but daily. until what once felt rare becomes who you are. The most dangerous habit isn't laziness. It's almost committed, almost focused, almost disciplined. Almost is how dreams die quietly. It gives you just enough progress to feel productive and just enough comfort to avoid true transformation. But you weren't built for almost. You were built for all in. So burn the almost. Replace it with daily action, ruthless consistency, radical ownership. That's how you become unstoppable, not by waiting for motivation, but by killing hesitation. Success begins when you stop circling your goals and start owning them like they already belong to you. You don't get stronger by doing what's easy. You get stronger by choosing what's aligned, especially when it's uncomfortable. Comfort builds nothing. Pain teaches. Discipline expands. Repetition hardens the edge. Every time you choose growth over ease, you build resilience. And the world doesn't belong to the most talented, it belongs to the most resilient. So embrace the challenge. Love the process. Welcome the resistance. It's not there to stop you. It's there to shape you. Keep moving. Keep building. Because with each hard day you conquer, you're becoming the person who no longer needs the easy ones. The person you want to become is already inside you. It's just buried beneath layers of excuses, fear, and hesitation. You don't need to discover them. You need to uncover them. That version of you isn't waiting for the perfect time or a lucky break. They're waiting for a consistent version of you to show up. One who finishes what they start. One who honors their word, even when no one's watching. Every time you choose discipline, you dig deeper. Every time you silence a distraction, you reveal more. And every time you keep a promise to yourself, you activate your future. This isn't about becoming someone new. It's about returning to the person you were before the world taught you to play small. Clarity isn't something you wait for. It's something you create through action. Most people delay progress because they don't feel certain, but clarity doesn't show up before the work. It reveals itself inside the work. Start the project. Take the step. Have the conversation. Clarity lives in motion. You'll never think your way into perfect confidence. You earn it by doing the hard thing again and again, until fear becomes familiarity and the unknown becomes your new comfort zone. So stop stalling. Move forward. Adjust on the way. And watch how fast clarity starts to follow your lead. You'll never outperform your identity. That's why surface-level hacks don't work. You can try new habits, read new books, follow new people, but if your identity remains rooted in the old version of you, everything will snap back. The mind always seeks to align with who it believes you are. So if you want lasting change, stop asking, "What should I do?" and start asking, "Who am I becoming?" Talk like that person. Move like that person. Think like that person before the results arrive. Because identity isn't built after you win. It's what causes the win. So don't wait for proof. Be the evidence. Momentum isn't magic, it's engineered. It's the result of stacking tiny wins, of doing the right thing when it doesn't feel urgent, of following through when you'd rather delay. If you want momentum, stop chasing hype. Start chasing completion. Finish what you start. Close loops. Keep promises. Repeat. You don't need more energy. You need fewer open tabs in your life. Because momentum lives in movement, not in planning, not in talking and doing. One clean action, one clear day, one complete loop. Do that enough times, and you won't just build momentum, you'll become it. One of the most powerful things you can do is to act without permission. Stop waiting to be chosen. Stop asking for validation. Stop assuming someone else holds the key. No one is coming to crown you. You have to claim your role. That's not arrogance, it's ownership. Own your future. Own your schedule. Own your potential like your life depends on it, because it does. The second you stop playing small to make others comfortable, your real journey begins. Move like it's yours already. Show up like you belong. That's how you stop waiting and start building. The best version of you is quiet, consistent, and dangerous. It doesn't seek applause, it builds in silence. It doesn't chase attention, it earns respect. It doesn't need hype, it's fueled by clarity. This version doesn't post progress, it lives it. This version doesn't rely on mood, it relies on mission. You'll know you've met this version when you stop needing to prove anything and start delivering results without needing recognition. And when that day comes, you'll realize the power was never outside of you. It was buried in your ability to follow through, regardless of who noticed. Be that version every single day. Every excuse has a root fear. Fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of success, fear of responsibility. But fear only grows in silence. When you name it, face it, and move anyway, fear begins to shrink. Confidence isn't the absence of fear, it's the refusal to obey it. You don't need to eliminate fear to take action. You need to build the habit of acting through it. Feel the fear, name it, then act anyway. Because nothing changes if you only move when you're certain. Power comes from forward motion, not perfect conditions. You become invincible the day you stop needing to be understood. Not everyone will get your hunger. Not everyone will match your drive. And that's okay. Stop lowering your vision to gain approval. Stop apologizing for moving fast. Stop over-explaining to people who aren't even building anything. Your goals don't need a committee. They need commitment. Protect your focus. Starve your distractions. Elevate your environment. You're not here to be liked. You're here to lead. So lead boldly, even if it's lonely. Because legacy is built in solitude and echoed through generations. No more asking, what if it doesn't work? Start asking, what if it does? What if the vision in your mind isn't a fantasy but a future waiting for discipline? What if every fear is just a final test before your breakthrough? What if your current discomfort is proof that you're growing into the person who can hold what you've prayed for? Most people fail not because it wasn't possible, but because they never gave themselves full permission to believe. You want to win? Then bet on you fully. Not halfway, not cautiously, all in. Because the life you want, it already exists in the other side of your commitment. There's a version of you that doesn't hesitate. They don't wait to be in the mood. They don't overthink every move. They don't sabotage progress with overanalysis. That version of you moves with clarity, acts with decisiveness, leads with integrity. How do you meet them? You stop being loyal to your limitations. You stop rehearsing why it won't work and start obsessing over how it could. And most of all, you stop asking permission to be great. Because you don't need it. You never did. Build, execute, evolve, repeat. That's how the old you disappears and the new one takes over. Most people never outgrow their excuses because they've made them part of their personality. They don't just say, I procrastinate. They say, that's just who I am. They don't just say, I'm tired. They say, I've always been like this. But your current habits are not your identity. They're just evidence of what you've repeated long enough to believe. Change the reps, change the belief. Change the belief, change the identity. You don't need a reinvention. You need a reset. Start with your words. Start with your choices. Start with your morning. Build from there, brick by brick, standard by standard, until your results no longer surprise you because they finally match your rhythm. If it matters to you, you'll make it happen. If it doesn't, you'll make an excuse. That's the line. That's the difference. It's not about having more time. It's about telling the truth about what you're prioritizing. Audit your day. Audit your inputs. Audit your circles. Then ask yourself, am I aligned with the outcome I say I want? If the answer is no, don't make it emotional. Make it structural. Fix your process. Tweak your system. Eliminate the fluff. Success doesn't require perfection. It requires integrity between what you want and what you're willing to do. Own that. And watch how fast things shift. If your goals don't scare you a little, they're not goals, they're tasks. Stretching goals force growth. They expose your limits. They challenge your beliefs. But most importantly, they reveal your habits. Because once the goal is set, the real question becomes, who do I have to become in order to make this inevitable? It's not about intensity, it's about identity. It's about whether your calendar reflects your convictions. Big goals don't need more strategy. They need more execution, more recovery, more focus, less noise. So set the goal, raise the standard, then build the system that makes it non-negotiable. That's how people win, not with hype but with habit. Every chapter of your life has a lesson, and if you don't learn it, it repeats. This is why you see cycles, the same patterns, the same pain, the same excuses with new packaging. Life isn't punishing you, it's trying to promote you, but you have to pass the test. So stop running from repetition. Start asking what it's trying to teach you. What behavior keeps breaking you? What truth are you avoiding? What lesson do you need to finally embody? Learn it, know her, live it again later. Growth comes not from escaping your patterns, but by facing them until they break. You don't rise to your potential. You fall to your preparation. It's not how loud you dream, it's how quiet you execute. Most of your success will be built in private, without applause, without feedback, and without clarity. But if you stay faithful to the work, the reward will always find you. Prepare like the opportunity is already on the way. Speak like the audience is already listening. Move like the future already belongs to you. Because the ones who win aren't the loudest, they're the most prepared when it counts. The difference between almost and unstoppable is standards. Almost committed still negotiates. Almost disciplined still delays. But unstoppable? That version of you doesn't ask how they feel. They ask what they promised. And they honor that promise until it becomes second nature. Raise your standard, then defend it until you don't recognize your life. Not because it looks different, but because it finally reflects the version of you that stopped backing down. You don't need more goals, you need more grit. People overcomplicate progress. They chase the next hack, the next mentor, the next burst of motivation. But the truth is this: the ones who win are the ones who keep showing up, especially when it's hard. They don't flinch at boredom. They don't break under silence. They don't fear discomfort, they feed on it. That's grit, the quiet engine of transformation. It won't trend, it won't go viral, but it will build a future no one can take from you. Your energy is your responsibility. Not your schedule, not your job, not your partner. You. Protect it, audit it, multiply it. You can't build anything meaningful if your energy leaks into people and patterns that don't serve your next level. Not everyone deserves access to your clarity. Not every moment deserves your attention. Be ruthless with what you consume. Be surgical with who you allow near your goals. Because your energy is the currency of your future, and you don't owe it to everyone. Spend it where it grows you. You'll never be perfect, but you can be prepared. Prepared to push when it's hard. Prepared to lead when no one else will. Prepared to stand when others shrink. Most people wait for ideal conditions. Winners build under pressure. While others wait for the fog to clear, they take one step, then another. Because progress isn't made in clarity, it's made in commitment. Stop stalling. Start building. Even one honest action a day puts you in a different category. And after enough days, the gap between you and the world you want, it won't be a dream anymore. It'll be a memory. You don't get more time, you just get more choices. Every scroll, every delay, every distraction is a vote for the life you don't want. It sounds harsh, but it's true. What you tolerate teaches the world what's acceptable to you. So stop blaming time. Start mastering choice. Choose what builds you. Choose what sharpens you. Choose what aligns you. And remember, you're not just choosing actions. You're choosing a future. Choose well, then choose again tomorrow. That's how greatness is built, choice by choice, day by day. Your breakthrough won't feel like lightning. It'll feel like repetition. Not louder effort, but quieter mastery. You won't know the moment everything changed until much later, after the 100th day you showed up without applause. After the 1,000th decision to follow through. After the morning you got up without hitting snooze and realized, You don't even argue with discipline anymore. That's breakthrough. Quiet, earned, lived. And when it arrives, you'll feel peace, not hype. Because you didn't just build results. You became the person who sustains them. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you believe you're worthy of. That's why self-respect matters more than self-esteem. The person who respects themselves builds habits they don't negotiate with. They surround themselves with people who reflect their standards. They don't chase, they attract. Because their life isn't built on hope, it's built on honor. And when you walk with that kind of respect, success stops being accidental. It becomes inevitable. Success is not a secret, it's a sequence. Wake up, lock in, do the work, repeat. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters without fail. Cut the fluff, silence the noise, stop overthinking. Focus on what moves the needle. Do it relentlessly. Because in a world obsessed with speed, focus is your advantage. It doesn't need to be flashy. It needs to be real. And if you do the right thing long enough, you'll wake up one day living a life you used to only imagine. Most people avoid the process that would free them because it's uncomfortable. They want growth without resistance, discipline without tension, change without friction. But discomfort isn't the enemy. It's the evidence you're in the right place. Lean into it. Get familiar with it. Let it stretch you. Because the discomfort you feel now is nothing compared to the regret of staying the same. You don't need to escape the process. You need to surrender to it. That's where the evolution happens. You'll never regret being consistent, but you will regret starting over again and again. That's the real cost of inconsistency. Not just lost progress, but lost belief. Every time you quit, your subconscious registers it. And the next time you start, it whispers, "You won't finish." Break that cycle. Finish something, anything. Build the evidence that says, "I do what I say." Because that's how belief is rebuilt. Not with hype, but with habit. Stack enough wins, and even your doubt will get quiet. Your future is watching your current choices, not with judgment, but with expectation. It's hoping you'll stop selling yourself short. It's hoping you'll take yourself seriously. It's hoping you'll stop waiting and start building. You don't need permission to become the person you were meant to be. You need courage. Not all at once, just enough for today. Because every version of you is built in days like this one, in choices that seem small but echo for decades. So choose boldly. Your future is counting on it. Some of your greatest progress will happen after you want to quit. After the excitement fades, after the support disappears, after your motivation dries up. And that's the point most people retreat. But not you. You'll keep showing up, not because it's easy, but because it's who you are now. This is the difference between amateurs and professionals. Amateurs need inspiration. Professionals need a reason. Anchor yourself to your reasoning. You'll outlast everyone waiting for the perfect moment. You are always becoming someone. The question is, are you becoming someone by design or by default? Are your days shaped by vision or by reaction? Do your habits come from alignment or convenience? Every moment you let drift steal your day, you sacrifice a piece of your potential. But every moment you take back, that's one more step toward mastery. Be intentional. Be ruthless. Be responsible for your own evolution. Because if you don't shape your life, someone else will. If your dreams don't cost you something, they won't give you anything. Comfort is expensive. It robs you of clarity. It keeps you surrounded by people who enable your excuses. It rewards softness when what you need is structure. But when you start paying the price early mornings, late nights, difficult conversations, you unlock doors others never even knock on. You see things differently. You move differently. You attract different challenges and different rewards. So pay the price, and pay it gladly. Because the cost of discipline is nothing compared to the cost of regret. When the results are slow, don't change the goal, change your pace. Get sharper, get quieter, get more focused. Sometimes, it's not about doing more. It's about removing what's in the way. Eliminate the noise. Kill the distractions. Simplify your workflow. Progress isn't always about acceleration. It's about alignment. And when everything you do is pointed in the same direction, momentum becomes effortless. You're not behind. You're just one aligned decision away from a new level. Make it today. The reason most people never build a life they love is simple. They stop too soon. They expect fast results from deep work. They demand overnight outcomes from compound behavior. And when it doesn't show up in a week, they abandon the process. But real transformation takes time. The seeds you plant today don't bloom tomorrow. But if you water them, protect them, and stay committed, they grow. Always. So stop measuring in minutes. Start measuring in months, in years, in legacies. Because if you never quit, you never fail. You just haven't finished yet. High performance is not about intensity. It's about intentionality. Anyone can grind for a day. Anyone can push hard once. But few people can sustain clarity over time. That's the edge. Not speed, but sustainability. So stop trying to go harder. Go cleaner. Go simpler. Go deeper. Protect your rhythm. Honor your energy. Play the long game. Because the ones who last aren't the loudest. They're the most aligned. And when alignment meets consistency, nothing can stop you. Your next level isn't waiting for you to get more talented. It's waiting for you to get more focused. Focus sharpens everything. It multiplies time. It reduces resistance. It makes hard things feel simple and distracting things feel irrelevant. Most people never break through because they never go deep enough. They skim. They start. They sample. But you go all in. You find what matters and build around it. Because mastery doesn't come from multitasking. It comes from brutal clarity. And clarity is earned by cutting away everything that isn't aligned. There's a moment in every journey when no one claps, no one notices, no one believes. And in that moment, you have two choices. Step back into safety or step deeper into self-belief. This is your test. Not to prove them wrong, but to prove yourself right. Keep building when it's boring. Keep showing up when it's silent. Keep finishing what you start. Because legacy isn't built in highlight reels, it's built in hidden hours. And those who endure the quiet earn the echo that lasts forever. The reason most people never build a life they love is simple. They stop too soon. They expect fast results from deep work. They demand overnight outcomes from compound behavior. And when it doesn't show up in a week, they abandon the process. But real transformation takes time. The seeds you plant today don't bloom tomorrow. But if you water them, protect them, and stay committed, they grow. Always. So stop measuring in minutes. Start measuring in months, in years, in legacies. Because if you never quit, you never fail. You just haven't finished yet. High performance is not about intensity. It's about intentionality. Anyone can grind for a day. Anyone can push hard once. But few people can sustain clarity over time. That's the edge. Not speed, but sustainability. So stop trying to go harder. Go cleaner. Go simpler. Go deeper. Protect your rhythm. Honor your energy. Play the long game. Because the ones who last aren't the loudest. They're the most aligned. And when alignment meets consistency, nothing can stop you. You don't rise to your potential. You fall to your preparation. It's not how loud you dream, it's how quiet you execute. Most of your success will be built in private, without applause, without feedback, and without clarity. But if you stay faithful to the work, the reward will always find you. Prepare like the opportunity is already on the way. Speak like the audience is already listening. Move like the future already belongs to you. Because the ones who win aren't the loudest, they're the most prepared when it counts. You'll never regret being consistent, but you will regret starting over again and again. That's the real cost of inconsistency. Not just lost progress, but lost belief. Every time you quit, your subconscious registers it. And the next time you start, it whispers, you won't finish. Break that cycle. Finish something, anything. Build the evidence that says, I do what I say. Because that's how belief is rebuilt. Not with hype, but with habit. Stack enough wins, and even your doubt will get quiet. You can't build a new life with the habits that broke the last one. There comes a time when inspiration isn't enough, when strategy isn't enough. Only new standards will do. Raise them, enforce them, let them filter your choices, your people, your priorities. Because the gap between who you are and who you want to be is measured in what you tolerate. Tolerate less, expect more, act accordingly. That's how change becomes permanent. Don't confuse exhaustion with progress. Busy doesn't mean effective. Effort doesn't mean aligned. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is pause not to quit, but to recalibrate. Ask yourself, is this moving me forward? Is this building the future I said I wanted? If the answer is no, have the courage to pivot. Progress is not just motion, it's motion in the right direction. Protect your energy, redirect your focus, and never mistake hustle for impact. The moment you stop negotiating with yourself is the moment your results stop fluctuating. No more, maybe later. No more just this once. No more justifying the behavior you know is costing your future. Draw the line. Hold the line. Become the line. Because consistency isn't a feeling, it's a decision you renew daily. And the more you keep that promise, the less you need motivation. You become your own momentum. No one is coming to rescue you from your potential. It's your responsibility to step into it. No mentor, no opportunity, no perfect timing. Just you, your habits, your standards, and your follow-through. So stop waiting for signs. Start becoming the signal. Be the example. Be the reason. Be the one who decided that enough was enough. Because that's all success ever I-zone decision, honored daily. You don't need a better plan. You need a deeper commitment. Everyone wants the outcome. Few are willing to stay committed when it stops being exciting. But that's where the real growth begins. In the mundane, in the repetition, in the daily choices that feel small but change everything. Fall in love with the boring work and your results will stop being average. Because excellence isn't loud. It's consistent. The path is not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be worth it. Challenge isn't a sign to stop, it's a sign to grow. Pressure isn't your enemy, it's your training. So lean in, embrace the tension, face the discomfort, own the weight. Because pressure creates strength, resistance builds depth. And when the world sees your results, they'll call it talent. But you'll know the truth. It was forged in repetition and fire. Every time you honor your process, you plant a seed for a future you can't even see yet. It might feel small, insignificant, invisible, but nothing you do with full integrity is ever wasted. Every early morning, every disciplined choice, every act of restraint, they're all votes for the life you're building. Stack enough of them, and they become undeniable, and the world will call you lucky. But you'll know you earned every inch. The ones who make it look easy are the ones who didn't quit when it was hard. They showed up in silence. They followed through in doubt. They finished the work even when it wasn't pretty. And now, they walk with a confidence that can't be bought. Because confidence is a byproduct of kept promises. You want to walk boldly? Then honor your word when no one's watching. Do that long enough, and your life won't just change, it'll reflect the power of who you've become. The only shortcut is doing it right the first time. No skipping the struggle. No avoiding the reps. No bypassing the boring work. It's the repetition that builds muscle. Not just in the body, but in the mind, in the soul, in the standard. You want strong results? Then build strong patterns. And refuse to take shortcuts that cost you long-term stability. Earn your wins. All of them. Every person you admire once felt unsure, once stumbled, once questioned if they were on the right path. But they kept going. Not because they had all the answers, but because they chose not to quit. Progress isn't about perfection. It's about perseverance. So stop disqualifying yourself. Start where you are, use what you have, Build what you can. That's how every legend begins in uncertainty, but not in hesitation. If you want to feel proud at the end of the day, do the things most people avoid. The hard conversations, the disciplined decisions, the invisible wins. Most of your growth won't be seen. It won't be posted. It won't be celebrated. But that's what makes it powerful. It's the kind of growth that builds trust with yourself. And when you trust yourself, you stop chasing validation. You move with calm confidence, the kind that only comes from earned integrity. People don't burn out because they're doing too much. They burn out because they're doing too little of what matters. Busy doesn't mean aligned. Hustle doesn't equal impact. If you want to sustain success, you need clarity. Clarity of mission, clarity of rhythm, clarity of boundaries. So simplify your goals. Sharpen your schedule. Cut the fluff. Because a clear mind produces clear results. And clarity is what gives your ambition a real chance to thrive. Some of your greatest breakthroughs will come after the 100th repetition, not the first. Because repetition refines, repetition reveals, repetition roots the habit deep into your identity. And once it becomes who you are, there's no going back. So stop chasing novelty. Start chasing mastery. Not for the world, but for the version of you that's capable of holding your dream. They only show up when your reps earn their arrival. The gap between average and elite is discipline when no one's watching. It's the hidden hours, the quiet days, the commitment that doesn't post well. That's where separation is created. So if you feel unseen, keep building. If you feel alone, keep showing up. Because the ones who stay the course through silence are the ones who can handle the roar. And that roar is coming if you stay long enough to hear it. Most people want transformation without friction. But friction is the forge. It's where clarity is created, where weakness is exposed, where confidence is built. Avoiding friction means avoiding progress. So lean into the challenge, face the tension, embrace the unknown. You weren't built for ease. You were built for evolution. And nothing evolves in comfort. You don't need to change everything today. You just need to change the next choice. That's how momentum begins in moments. One aligned decision, one small promise kept, one distraction resisted. You stack enough of those and suddenly your identity shifts. You're no longer trying to be disciplined, you are. You're no longer hoping to grow, you do. That's the power of aligned moments stacked with intention, lived with integrity. Start now, one moment at a time. If your habits don't match your goals don't matter. The vision might inspire you, but only behavior creates change. So audit your days. Do they reflect who you're becoming or who you've been? It's not about perfection. It's about pattern. The right pattern, done long enough, makes success predictable. And the wrong one, tolerated too long, makes failure feel inevitable. Choose wisely, then live consistently. The best way to silence doubt is to take action. Not perfect action, just movement. Because clarity is found in the doing. Doubt feeds on delay. It multiplies in stillness, but it dies in motion. So, if your mind is racing, move your feet. Do something that brings your vision to life. And watch how fast your mind catches up with your momentum. You won't always be the most talented, but you can always be the most prepared. Preparation beats potential when potential is lazy. So prepare. Prepare your mind. Prepare your environment. Prepare your energy. So when the moment comes, you don't hesitate. You move. Not because you're lucky, but because you were ready. Always be ready. And the world won't be able to ignore you. The final stage of mastery is simplicity. Not complication, not overwhelm. Simplicity. Because the more you master something, the less you need. The fewer tools, the tighter the rhythm, the clearer the focus. If your process is getting heavier, you're not growing, you're collecting. Strip it down. Sharpen the edge. Let go of the excess. Because clarity doesn't just move faster, it hits harder. And mastery isn't about doing more. It's about doing less, better. There's a version of you that doesn't flinch at hard work. They don't question the process. They don't seek shortcuts. They don't need applause. They're locked in, aligned, unbothered. And every time you honor your word, show up when it's hard, and keep building when it's boring, you become them. One rep at a time, one choice at a time, until discipline is no longer something you do, it's someone you are. You don't need motivation when you live by principle. Principles anchor you. They guide you when life gets chaotic. They pull you forward when emotions try to pull you back. So define yours. Live by them. Build from them. Because the people who rise aren't just talented, they're principled. And principles make you powerful, even in the face of pressure. Lead yourself first. Then watch how naturally the results follow. You weren't born to stay hidden in potential. You were built to execute. Potential without action is regret waiting to happen. So make the move, say the thing, build the dream. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. And every time you act, you carve a path through resistance. So keep going, because your future isn't built in the idea. It's built in the follow-through. The finish line won't wait for your feelings, and neither will your legacy. So show up, stay sharp, do the work, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because that's where the real change happens. Not in the easy days, but in the ones you almost quit and didn't. Every day is a vote, not for who you were, but for who you're becoming. Cast it wisely, with your choices, with your actions, with your standards. Because those votes, they don't lie. They tell the truth about what you're building. And when the world sees your results, they'll call it fate. But you'll know it was just discipline. The real flex isn't working when you're inspired, it's working when no one's watching. It's doing the reps when it's boring. It's sticking to the plan when the mood fades. It's following through when no one's cheering. That's the difference between those who visit greatness and those who live in it. So stay locked in, even when it's silent. Because that silence, that's where giants are made. You'll never outperform your commitment, not your environment, not your schedule, not your ideas. Everything rises or falls based on how committed you are to seeing it through. So stop tweaking your goals, tweak your follow-through. And when in doubt, do what others won't. That's how you build results you won't have to explain. Every distraction has a co-stand. It's usually your future. Every time you scroll instead of study, react instead of reflect, or entertain instead of execute, you delay what's waiting for you. You don't need more discipline. You need fewer distractions. Guard your time like your legacy depends on it, because it does. The most powerful person in the room is the one who doesn't flinch under pressure. They don't panic. They don't rush. They don't fold. They breathe. They assess. Then they act. You build that kind of power in obscurity. Not when everyone's watching, but when no one is. Earn your edge in private then. Lead with certainty in public. You don't need a louder dream. You need a quieter mind. Stillness isn't weakness. It's strength under control. Create space. Listen in silence. Think deeply. Because the solutions you're looking for don't live in chaos, they live in clarity. And clarity is the reward for those who dare to slow down in a world that won't stop yelling. The ones who rise don't always start with more, they start with deeper reasons. Their why is louder than their excuses. Their vision burns hotter than their distractions. So before you chase results, chase depth. Because when your reason is real, you don't need a reminder. You wake up with fire. And you don't stop until your results look like your reasons. Consistency doesn't just change your outcomes, it rewires your identity. The more you follow through, the less you hesitate. The more you show up, the less you second guess. The more you build, the less you break. You want new results? Then build a new rhythm. And protect it like your future depends on it, because it does. You won't always feel ready, but you can always be responsible. Own the moment. Own the outcome. Own your next step. Because success doesn't come to the most emotional, it comes to the most committed. The ones who don't need the perfect plan, just the next decision made with discipline. Make that decision right now, then make another tomorrow.